Welcome to Betting on Success, a podcast that dives into the future of gaming with a focus on cashless technology. Hosted by Mark Morton, aka Morty. From cashless innovations to incredible career stories, this is where gaming professionals stay ahead. Betting on Success is brought to you by your friends at Marker Trax and Koin, leading the way in cashless gaming.
Hi, I'm Mark Morton, and thank you for joining me here today from the very palatial offices of Koin and Marker Trax. I have the pleasure today with having a larger-than-life individual from the gaming industry, a member of one of the most iconic names in the family Vegas history.
Is that right?
Yeah, true. But more importantly, someone I'm proud to have called a friend for over 50 years.
For sure. Absolutely.
Gary's great. Thank you for joining me.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Before we dive in, I got to tell you a story.
Okay.
The first time I met you, you scared the hell out of me.
Was that last week?
No. 50 years ago.
Okay.
I was 8. We were playing Little League.
Yeah. You look younger, but I wasn't much older.
And I looked across the field, and I saw these little kids that were my size, and then I saw this mountain of a guy, you, and I said, Dad, how old is that guy? That's not right. So I'm still a little bit scared, but not as much as I was before. So,
Fun times.
So I want to thank you for joining me.
Of course.
Vegas native?
Absolutely. Born and raised.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yeah.
Proud to be.
Yeah, you're a huge family guy,
I am.
as I always recall. Tell me a little about those beautiful people in your life.
Well, was raised very family-oriented.
Yep.
Right? And so that's kind of how my wife Cindy and I have been with our family. 3 daughters.
Yeah.
Couldn't have anyone more important than my family. Nobody exists more important than my family. So, funny stories with that, but I won't bore anyone. But
you're a daughter dad. You're a girl dad.
I am.
Yeah.
Can you relate?
I can relate.
Right.
I got 2 myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Greatest thing in the world.
Let me ask you another. Everybody knows about Ellis Island.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about the Village Pub.
Sure.
Everybody has funny stories about both places or things that have occurred in some of those locations.
Right.
You know, you're much more than just that. You're a businessman. You got your hands in a bunch of different things. Charleston Lodge. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about where you're at with that. That's the question I get asked the most when they know I know you.
It's interesting because people, that is everybody asks about the Mount Charleston Lodge, and of course we were born and raised here, right? Were you born here?
No, moved here when I was 8.
8, okay.
Yep.
But everybody knew the Mount Charleston Lodge. Everybody would go to get out of, especially this time of year. Unfortunately, we don't have it back up yet. But, 30 degrees cooler up there. It was always fun to go up to Mount Charleston, do whatever you wanted to do. And there was a stop at the lodge, right? And I had a broker bring me the deal, and I was not interested in it, It was been there forever, but it never seemed to be a winning financial proposition.
Yeah.
Then I looked at the numbers, and it was pretty amazing. As the town grew to the north, more and more people went up to the lodge, exposing more tourists to it, and so they wanted to sell, and so we took it and ended up then buying the cabins that are next to it. And so it's 4.2 acres in the middle of the national forest. Fee simple, property that probably won't exist again.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think the Forest Service is opening up too much more private property. So I thought it was an opportunity. The girls really liked it. And so, they're all involved in business with me. So we figured they gave me the approval, and we moved forward with it. And unfortunately, we had a fire. We were doing some construction up there. Not uncommon that, welding or whatever happened. We had a situation where there was a fire, and so we're trying to, we've gotten through the county with what we want to do up there, and we think it's going to be pretty fantastic.
So when? That's what everybody wants to know.
Yeah. So, as you can guess, there were people that didn't want us to build up there.
Yeah.
We had, not a lot, a few that wanted us to plant trees on the property. And, just leave it,
You wanted more.
We had an investment.
Yeah.
Right. We had a major investment, and so that didn't stop us, but it slowed us down. And I think in December, January, we got the final approvals through the county, and so we're able to move forward. We have Steelman Architects that's a very reputable firm here in town, and so we're really paying attention to it, really doing what needs to be done up there. It's going to be a very nice project. Full steam ahead. There is no, at this point, slowing us down.
Good.
So,
how about you have a winery?
Oh God, we have yes. That's an odd one, but it's showing a lot of promise.
Yeah. Brewery.
Yeah. Brewery. Yeah.
You make eggnog.
We make eggnog. We have a distillery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and it's not your grandma's eggnog. That is
my
not
grandfather's eggnog.
Well, it's your grandfather's eggnog, but it's not what you think about eggnog.
Oh, not generically your grandma. No,
that's correct.
If you run out of fuel on the way home and you have a bottle of eggnog, you just put it in the tank. It'll get you home.
And you're ready to go.
It's pretty high octane.
Yeah. And today I found out for the first time something after 50 years I didn't know.
Okay.
You own a meat packing business? What is that?
We're Italian. Family's Italian. So the tradition in Italy is that, and really in all of Europe, or maybe every part of the world, the folks fermented foods to keep them during the summer, right? Yeah. And so that's what salumi is, and that's what we've got. We've got a USDA plant that allows us to make our own cured meats. Yeah, well, needed a hobby, Mark.
You don't have enough on your plate, right?
Exactly.
We're also going to dive in a little bit into Koin and Marker Trax.
Sure.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the podcast.
Yeah.
This was your brainchild. Why did you want to have it?
Well, we're a growing company. We're a new company, right? Both Koin and Marker Trax. And so exposing what we're doing, even some of the hurdles that we have in growing a fintech company, I think is healthy to get out there in the industry and let people know, what we're trying to do.
Yep.
What our intellectual property is around, and then getting back to really basically what Marker Trax is about, which is our intellectual property is surrounds not letting the cash in a casino, the credit in a casino, walk out the door.
Yeah.
And so that was my experience. That's how it came about, was that I saw a guy go up to a cage in our small casino, take out $1,000 in cash, because that's the only way at the time you could issue credit. So take $1,000 in cash and walk out the door. Not what a credit line in a casino is intended for.
Right.
Right. So it got me thinking that if that guy doesn't pay me back, right, I go from having no cost of sales in the casino environment, because our inventory in the casino business is cash.
Yep.
Right. So from not having any costs on that money to having 100% cost on that money. And so it started me thinking about how digitally we could handle that marker, and then how to not allow that marker to end up going bad, for the credit to go bad and costing the casino. So essentially what Marker Trax does is it in a very quick credit approval process through your phone, you get approval for the credit, and you're immediately in action with that credit line, which is what people want to do. They don't want to waste time. So that's basically what happens with Marker Trax.
And how long did it take you to get to a point where it was a product that you could offer to the gaming industry?
Years.
I know.
Many years.
I know. I think you approached me the first time in 2009.
Did.
So that journey had to be tough, and you had nothing else going on, right? You got your meat packing, and you got the winery and all that other stuff. So you had a lot of time.
We were building our tavern product at the time.
Yeah.
I continued to work on it. Good times, bad times. We kept the process going, and then ended up getting the patent on it. which might not have been necessary, but was nice to have that security going forward.
Yeah.
So got that in, I don't remember what I was, 19 or something like that. And so, yeah, I had approached you about it because, you'd been in the business and you liked the idea, but, it was you were out there doing your thing and doing quite well. And so, ended up, when it was real, when we knew we had something, that I knew Charlie Skinner and, so got him to come in and he and the owners of Century Gaming, which was our tavern route operator, understood what we were trying to do, appreciated it. They tried to build it, and with their system couldn't get it exactly right, and with the gaming authorities approving it, so we moved on and finally went to Konami, got them to build it, and hasn't been without hurdles that fintech companies have, that any business startup has, but we continue to take more steps forward than backwards.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question because most of the stuff you've done has been a tangible product,
right,
that we've talked about.
Right.
The technology side is much different.
It is.
The movement into cashless is much different than other things you've done.
Yep.
What has been the toughest piece of that puzzle?
Well, I think, if you look at the first credit card that ever existed, Diners Club.
Yep.
That was an idea the guy had in the middle of Manhattan, I think. He was at dinner, didn't have enough cash in his pocket, and came up with the idea of the Diners Club credit card or a credit, widget, whatever. And so if you read the stories on that evolution of Diners Club and then Bank Americard and the other credit products that came to market, you see what they went through, right? And so the hurdles have been that exposing it to the casino business, and then all of the things they went through. How do you hit the right target? Then having in some casinos, having people that have to work harder to get this thing implemented, maybe sticking their necks out a little bit. That has been a little bit of a hurdle. Sometimes the tail wags the dog. Yeah. Right. And so that's that tends to be a bit of a problem. But if we just concentrate on what it is, it's the strongest thing in the casino business handled properly. It's the strongest thing in business. It's credit, right? It's credit. So we cannot fail, right? No. We cannot fail. And so that's really, what continues to motivate me is that at the end of the day, it's the strongest thing the casino business has going. It's credit. And so done properly, issued to the right customer. You don't want to build a bar and cater to alcoholics. Right. There is problem gaming in this business, right? But it's a small, thank God, it's a small part of what the business is. You have to recognize that it exists. But with Marker Trax, and the regulators recognize this, you better know your customer. It's not issuing credit or allowing somebody to come into the casino that has a gambling problem that can get credit card advances or go to the ATMs. You really, without knowing your customer, without having that audit trail. With this product, you know your customer. It is essential that we go through that process. We have a know your customer component, right? And then issuing the right amount of credit. Anyone can get in trouble spending more money than what they have. Entertainment, on the golf course, at Neiman Marcus, right?
Yeah, I know that.
You have a wife too.
I got and two daughters, so I know exactly that they know by name when they walk in.
That's right.
So
that's
right.
right.
I understand.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So that's part of our what we're responsible for. Get the right credit into the right people's hands, and the the whole process is then more enjoyable. It's easier. It creates less friction on the floor, creates maybe more lift. So that's a good thing.
So you mentioned your patent, right? So
Yeah.
and we talked about traditional credit's been around for 50 years.
Sure.
When it built Vegas,
Yeah.
60% of a lot of those properties, GGR is driven off high-end table credit.
Absolutely.
What's the difference between that product and the product that you envisioned and eventually built?
So, typical Marker is a long process to get approval, right? And normally was catered or geared towards very high-end play, $50,000, $100,000 player, and mostly table games. The industry flipped from, being 30% slots to 70 or 65%, one-arm bandits or whatever we used to call them. And that's flipped, right? Most everything now are gaming devices, computers that sit on the floor, and less of the live gaming, although obviously the live gaming is still a huge part of most casinos. But the process of getting a marker, going to the cage, filling out an application, or taking it home and then getting to it and then filling it out, sending it in, getting approval, and then getting approval, that's a weeks-long or months-long process sometimes, right? So what our intellectual property does allows you to apply on your phone quickly, get approval, hopefully within 2 to 3 minutes. You're approved and you've got your line of credit. And so that's the difference. And then the inability for a customer to do what we talked about earlier, to take cash, because there's no cash that exchanges hands, right? It's credit that is transferred to the credit meter, or our intellectual property covers table games, covers sports betting, covers online gaming, so that if in any of those scenarios the credit is issued to the platform, played, if you're in a surplus position, meaning you have $1,000 sitting on your phone that you're playing at the time, and you have then at the end of the time you've played, you have $1,100 sitting on the credit meter. When you cash out, your credit line is taken down to the extent that you drew the $1,000. The $100 comes out and goes to you, and the $1,000 is now available again for you to play, creating lift for the casino, creating more play. And so it's a simple concept, but the intellectual property is around the inability of the customer to leave the casino with the casino's money. It doesn't help anyone when that happens. If the customer takes the money, goes to dinner, takes their wife or girlfriend to dinner, husband or boyfriend to dinner, they're spending money, the casino's money, on something that the credit was not intended for. These are credit, gaming lines of credit. They're intended to be played in that casino. Simple.
Yeah, brilliant, actually.
Yeah, I did it, so it can't be brilliant.
Can't be, yeah, pretty good, though.
Not bad.
All right, so you have another company here, Koin.
Right.
Tell me how you kind of splintered off the business into that area as well.
So, knowing Gary Larkin at the time that from another business venture early on, I talked to Charlie. We put a deal together, and then approached Gary because I knew he had extensive knowledge in payments. And so I talked to Gary, and I said, Gary, we should, with the Marker Trax product, have a wallet, right? You don't want a wallet. You don't want a wallet. They're a pain in the ass. The cost of acquisition for the customer is too much, and you just don't want it. Think of something else, Gary, right? So Gary started thinking about it, I guess, tells the story, came back a few months later and said, had a light bulb come on last night, right? And it was that the data, the information the casinos have on their customers was created a less hostile way to bring them in and expose them to a wallet. So that was kind of Gary's thing. changed gears, and so he had built many wallets around the world, and had had the product that was mostly built, and then we brought it in, continued to evolve that product, and Gary's now running Koin, and it looks extremely promising with a lot of the things that you'll expose on this podcast in the future that is unique to Koin. Really, really exciting stuff that Gary and his team are doing.
So when you look at everyday life, people use cashless all the time.
Right.
Go to a casino, though, it just hasn't taken off like you would have thought when you look at what you do every day.
Yep, for sure.
Why do you think that is, and what do you think needs to change for it to be the same sort of everyday event like it is with 90% of your life?
Yeah, I think the exciting part about Koin is that we're in that space, right? It needs to work like Apple Pay. It needs to work easily, quickly. It needs to be better than cash for the customer. And those are, frankly, some of the hurdles that you hit on, right?
Yeah.
As you're trying to build a company like Koin, and even with Marker Trax. The customer will always tell you how they want to use your product, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you build a tavern and you say, sure as hell, customer's going to walk to the right, and that this is what they're going to do. You open it up, they walk to the left. Don't fight that. Adjust and let them walk to the left.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are.
So getting off the business part of your life, you're way more than that. The business piece, you've been ultra successful over the years, right? And you've mentioned a couple things, family being one.
Yep.
So I mentioned the fact you're an iconic family name here in Las Vegas, which you are. You were born in Vegas, but I'm guessing your mom and dad weren't from here or born here, and they came here.
That's right.
How did that occur?
So, interesting. My great-grandparents were from a little town in Italy, right, in Calabria, right? It was a coal mining town. So as the new country opened up, right, everybody wanted to come to America, right, the land of opportunity, through Ellis Island, right? So that's the story back to Ellis Island. My Italian name is Alicio, okay? So the family moved, and I can't give you all the details on that from my great-grandparents, but moved to this little coal mining town in West Virginia, okay? Clarksburg, West Virginia. And so my grandfather was entrepreneurial, had businesses, had many businesses, and my father grew up in those businesses. He was entrepreneurial also. And we had family that had moved from West Virginia to California, to San Diego. And my grandfather, my father, his sister, and my grandmother were on their way to visit San Diego. And so they make a stop in Las Vegas because my grandmother's sister lived here. She worked at a diner downtown. They stopped, and I don't know how long this goes on, but this may be boring to some people, but it's part of the deal.
I love it.
So they stopped, and my grandfather said to his family, he said, "We're never leaving Las Vegas." They went on and visited San Diego. Of course, San Diego is one of the greatest places in the world, right? Visited San Diego, came back here. My grandfather never left. He said, "Go get to my dad, go sell the house, go to it, we're moving here." He had done well in business, and he bought the Paradise Motel on Fremont Street.
I know
the
exactly.
sign's still there.
Yes, I know
right?
exactly where it's at.
And
Yep.
Vegas went through one of its very tough times. 57. This was 53 or 54 when they came out. Vegas went through one of its very tough times, and they lost everything. Everything. So my father was 21 at the time, and he had to go. My grandfather, through the process, was obviously devastated, and So my grandfather had to go downtown to the Golden Nugget, stood in line every day to get a job as a shill at $1 an hour.
Okay.
Right? And from there, did that, was able to work, as many hours as he could to put food on the table for the entire family. Right? He had a growing family then too. My brother was born in 54, and things happen. Life happens, right? Grandfather then also got into the gaming business. He was in the poker room at the Golden Nugget. I think for 50 years. It was a pretty amazing story. And so, they worked their way back. My father eventually ended up getting a real estate license while he continued to progress as a dealer and then a boss, and then Baccarat at the Stardust was his last job. But he continued to progress, and then at the time he was working at the Stardust, he sent my mother to real estate school to learn how to get a real estate license. He would come home from work. She taught him what she had learned that day. Now, I hope my mother doesn't see this, right? Because he always told the story. They both took the test. Yeah. She taught him. He passed. She failed, right? She hates that story.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, but that's the truth. And he did very well. Not always in dirt, not homes. They were larger pieces of property that they would buy. They'd buy and sell some of the same property. Vegas was growing so fast. He was introduced to Howard Hughes's, some of their key people at the time, and Hughes was buying everything. So he was involved in a lot of those deals. And so very, very successful just moving dirt. And he and a partner wanted to build a little strip mall on Cowal Lane. And you'd shut me up when you want to.
No, you're good. This is what I want to know.
Strip mall, and they had tenants, 5 or 6 tenants in it. You remember Cheverini's?
I remember them all there.
Everybody talks about Cheverini's and several little businesses, and they had a small space, 1,600 feet for a bar. They were asking 25 cents a foot, and he couldn't get anybody to take it. Nobody would take it. Cowal Lane was practically a dirt road at the time. And so he says, well, hell, we were in this business back in West Virginia. I'll run the damn thing. And he did. And he always said that he used the Village Pub. That's the original Village Pub, opened in 1968. He used that as his office because it was kind of a locals hangout. He knew the business. It was a comfortable place to be. Not a hard hat joint. It was well received. And so he had contractors and business people from around town, all the SUMA guys, the Hughes Corp, all of them were on part of the credit process in my mind. I'd never seen it really in many other businesses, but we had what's called City Ledger. Okay? You'd come in, you'd get your ticket from your waiter or waitress, and you sign your name, right? And so that was credit for food and beverage, right? So I always mention that because that was instilled in me a little bit because of all the jobs I did in the old Village Pub, I was involved in the accounting, and so, all that had to be done manually. So my brother, who's a local attorney in town, my 2 sisters, we all had to work. You had to work, right? So in the summertime you worked. After school, my brother and I worked, right? Certain days. And it was a family business.
So your dad got into
I was the only dummy out of the 4 of us who liked the food and beverage.
Well, I'm going to get there right now. So you were, when I came back from school, college, first time I saw you, our paths crossed again, you were selling me a car at your dad's car.
Well, I never worked there as a car salesman. He wanted me to come in.
Okay.
Now, but I would send people over there.
Probably did that with me then.
Yeah, that's right. So I might have met you there, and walked you through the process. But I never did work there. He was in that business for a while. He loved it.
Yeah.
He loved the business.
So how did you decide that gaming, food and beverage is what you wanted to do?
Ignorance. The real deal was that, like I said, I enjoyed the business. I enjoyed being there. My father was kind of, my professor in business. Great business guy, highly respected around town, and in the industry. And so I was there all the time. He never really worked in the business. He was there, but he was primarily in the real estate business. So, he wanted to, 82, 83, he wanted me to come with him with the real estate. And I did get my real estate license. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but I wanted to, there was not gaming at the Village Pub. There was limited gaming. It had a 15-game license, which you're familiar with, limited to 15 games.
Yep.
But I wanted to born and raised in Vegas, I wanted a non-restricted gaming license. I was just ignorant enough to believe I could do that, right?
Yep.
Not knowing all of the hurdles that existed. But my father said, you're going to come with me, we're going to sell this business, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in the car business. I don't want to do, this is what I want to do, right? And I said, he said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, I want to buy you out. He said, you don't have any money, you dummy. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Right? I said, well, maybe you'll finance me. Maybe you'll, right? And so he rejected that on. And then finally he said, well, this kid's not going to give up. And he gave me a number.
Yeah.
So you're going to send me this check every month, right? Pay me first.
Yeah.
Took the money out of the business, right? And said, now go and make it. Now, would he have let me fail, right? I don't think so.
Right.
But it was the greatest thing he ever did, because I had a lot of sleepless nights figuring out how I was going to make payroll, how I was going to keep things going. And that was really good, right? And the other thing was, I sent the check to my mother every month. So every once in a while I could call my mother and say, hold on to this for 30 days, right? Don't tell Dad.
Yeah.
She probably told him, and he knew it. But I made every payment, paid him off, and as luck would have it, 60, 90 days after we closed that deal, I had a local real estate broker called me and said, because you needed 300 rooms to do a non-restricted gaming license, had guys that wanted to build 250-room motel, right? I said, you think they'd build 300, right? No, I don't think so. Well, ended up negotiating the deal with the guys, kicked in a little money, and they built 300 rooms, qualified us for the non-restricted gaming. They owned the rooms. I owned the food and beverage and gaming. Kind of a unique setup for the town, but we got that approved through the county. And, off and running. Small gaming company, but it's been very, very good.
You know what I love about that whole story is that's what Vegas was all about.
Right.
When I moved here and my family, that's what it was, hard work, and family was what really drove the opportunities but they always expected, the families, the dads, moms always expected you to work.
Of course.
Which is exactly what you're
Of course,
communicating.
and my girls worked in the business.
That's what I want to talk about next.
Yeah.
So I know that's super important to you. I know how much you love your girls, as I do. Tell me about that. How is it to work with your family, and how much gratification do you get out of the time you get to spend with them?
It's indescribable, really.
Yeah.
So I never forced them to work in the business. Told you I'm an Italian father. Every night at dinner I talked about business. Not in detail, but it would naturally come up. The girls were curious, right? Thanks to their mother, they were all really good students. All graduated from major colleges with honors, and took after their mother, not their dad, in the education side, right? But I could teach them about the street. I could teach them about, the reality of business, and so they all made their mother and father very proud with what they did when they went off to college. And college is not for everyone, but for them, they went and they did it. And it a lot of it is about maturing, from high school. And so they did that. I always tell the story about Christina coming back. She was at USC, and she came back to town, and she had an offer from a Silicon Valley business, big business. I said, "What they offered you?" Right? And she told me, and I said, "Okay." So I figured I got to bribe her somehow to come into the family business. So I didn't have to. She said, "Dad, this is, it's flattering, but I really want to see if I can work with you." And well, of course, that was
that's everything.
the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anna Marie, same thing, and then my youngest, who went into human resources and now is going to get involved with the two older girls in the operations. But the girls, that's been everything to me.
Yeah.
Everything to me.
Yeah.
I always say I threw them in the deep end to teach them how to swim. Not really true, but that's kind of what I've done in business. And they've responded, and they're an asset. They're not. You know them.
I know.
So
yeah. In fact, I want her over here with us.
I know you do. I know you do.
That's
she
what
keeps
I want.
threatening. I say, you're not going full time. So.
I keep asking though. I'm a little bit persistent when it comes.
I know you.
Comes to things.
I know you.
Yeah.
Lay off.
I will. You lifelong resident.
Yep.
Question for you: what do you like most about the new Las Vegas, and what do you miss about the old Las Vegas?
Yeah. I'll tell you, the people like you that have been in my life, right, for most of my life, you still are close to them, right? The town always seems small to the people that have been here forever. It really does.
Yeah.
So people, the people you always knew, you love them and you associate with them, and I think the town. Everything that's happened in this town is everything that we dreamed could happen.
Right.
And so I think it's all been positive. We have the greatest of everything in this town. It's the greatest. It's the entertainment capital of the world, with the sports coming, the Raiders, the A's coming, and now I'm sure we'll get an NBA team. The hockey, the Golden Knights have been fantastic. The first was unbelievable.
Yeah, I never realized my wife could cuss like she does. Until
she really gets into
it. I took her to a Knights game. Yeah, the real Shelley came out. So
yeah, I hear you.
I talked about friends. Being important to you.
Oh yeah.
You've never changed in 50 years.
I hope not.
Why is that so important to you?
Oh, wow. Why is that so important? Well, your friends become family, right? And their families become part of your family's family, right? Our girls know all of the friends that, people that that I'm very close to. Those kids and my kids are together a lot. So it becomes your extended family. And you just, they say that is a part of how healthy you are. Right, is how you associate with the people you love and you care for, and that extends to friends. So, yeah, they're just part of my family.
So you've done phenomenal, right? You're still relatively young, relatively.
I feel it.
What's the end game for you? If you took a look at the next 10 years of your life, where do you see yourself? 10 years.
Yeah. So hopefully doing the same thing I'm doing now. I think being a part of business is very exciting to me. I love it. I dig it every morning. It's numbers and what went on yesterday and how are we doing against last year. These entities are extremely exciting, huge upside, challenging in a good way. To see what we can do. I mean, you're key in these businesses, what we can do to make these things happen, because we will. Right? that's gonna. It's kind of scary how fast 10 years goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no doubt.
He said 50 years that we've known each other.
Yeah.
Now, you look a lot younger.
No, not.
But-
yeah. On the
but-
inside, Gary's not so
Not so
young.
good?
But yeah.
But it's exciting. I don't think of it in terms of years. I can't imagine retiring.
Right.
Right. So I think hopefully doing this as long as we can do it.
Yeah.
And so maybe getting back on the golf course someday with you. That would be
I
fun.
love to do that.
That would
I
be
love to
fun.
do that.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Yeah, no, really. Special time with you. Again, I want to thank Gary for joining us here today. I hope you got out of this what I was hoping to get out of it. Again, there's a lot of great people in our business. There's also a lot of great personalities. It's obviously easy at times to see what you've accomplished by just looking down the strip or the properties you have, but I think it's important to really understand who the people are. And so over the next several weeks, we're going to have guests on, similar to Gary, where we can explore not only why they've been successful, but also what really makes them tick and what's really inside them that made them be a different type of individual. So I hope you enjoyed today. I look forward to seeing you over the next several weeks, hopefully with some key guests. If anybody that you'd like that is listening today would like to join or be a guest on the show, we'd love to have them. Please just reach out. And again, thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of Betting on Success. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for more insights from gaming industry leaders. We'll see you next time.